AP, New Delhi. As an energy-hungry India flourished quickly after liberalizing its economy in the 1990s, the region's richest man, Gautam Adani, gained his enormous fortune betting on coal. He has now set his eyes on dominating the renewable energy market by 2030 by deftly matching his investments to the ambitions of the government. The Adani Group, whose businesses also include ports, power, agriculture, and military manufacturing, wants to invest $70 billion in solar, wind, and other green energy projects over the next 10 years as India struggles with climate change. Since fellow Gujaratian Narendra Modi, India's most powerful prime leader in decades, assumed office in 2014, Adani, 60, has benefited. The Adani Group is a ready and capable partner in what the government decides are its objectives, Sharma said, rather than influencing government policies directly. Adani's net worth has increased by roughly 2,000% to $125 billion since Modi was elected prime minister in 2014, according to Bloomberg's Billionaire Index, who at times campaigned using a private jet owned by the businessman. In September, because to a rise in the value of his 7 listed companies, he momentarily overtook Amazon CEO Jeff Bezos to claim the title of second richest man in the world. Given the significance of the agricultural vote, Adani has also made investments in agriculture, which is a top concern for Modi. Adani began his career trading diamonds in the financial center of Mumbai. He was one of 8 children raised in a middle-class family in Ahmedabad, Gujarat, the home state of Modi, who is from the West Indian nation. Before founding Adani Enterprises in the 1980s, he went back to his hometown to work with his brother importing plastics, trading in anything from shoes to buckets. He was held captive for ransom in 1988, and he escaped the Mumbai terror attacks in 2008 by hiding in the basement of a hotel that militants were besieging. His career has seen ups and downs. Adani recently received close to $90 million in government subsidies for the production of solar modules, capitalizing on Indian government incentives that encourage self-reliance and achieving net zero by 2070. In contrast, Buckley stated, Gautam Adani understands the geopolitical and economic interests of India and he positions himself to solve that problem for his own and India's gain. I don't think Gautam Adani actually thinks about climate science. He aspires to be on par with Elon Musk and Bill Gates. Being a credible global billionaire rather than the biggest fish in the Indian market is the only way he can accomplish that. He'll want Adani Green to be his lasting contribution, the source continued. He hasn't given up on fossil fuels yet, though. After years of disagreements with environmental organizations, the Adani Group finally started shipping coal from Australia's Carmichael mine in December 2021. The project will feature a rail connection for transporting coal from the Galilee Basin to nations in Asia, notably India, 300 kilometers, 185 miles, west of the Queensland coast. Bangladesh, which has a high need for energy, will soon begin receiving some of its electricity from an Adani coal-fired plant being built in eastern India. In a petrochemicals complex that will include an ethane cracker and a facility that turns natural gas into plastics, Adani recently announced plans to invest more than $4 billion. The corporation stated in a statement, while we are totally committed to renewable energy, existential demands dictate that we must maintain the course with old fuel sources until reliable alternatives are in place. Fossil fuel use will be reduced over time, it was stated, and our long-term aim is to remain focused on clean, reliable, and affordable energy. India now has a competitor for some of China's large commercial conglomerates in Adani. Earlier this year, Adani Ports acquired a 70% share in the Haifa port in Israel, which is close to the Haifa Bay port and run by the Shanghai International Port Group of China. Following complications with a Chinese-managed port transaction that was a part of its expansive Belt and Road Initiative, the business decided to invest in Tanzanian projects. As the firm stretches to grow internationally, rising debt levels have become a concern. The group's main publicly traded company, Adani Enterprises, has announced it will ask shareholders for permission to issue shares in order to raise more than $2 billion. Given his close ties to Modi, Adani's attempt to acquire NDTV, a major broadcaster in India, has sparked worries that he might try to stifle the network's frequently critical tone toward the government. According to the statement, strategic priorities, both domestic and foreign, may be crucial in generating economic prospects. We are willing to invest, spanning across geographies and sectors, if it is sufficiently lucrative. R.N. Bhaskar, a journalist who wrote a biography on Adani, claims that the tycoon's decision to align his fortunes with those of Modi and his party as they attained power was natural, just as it had been for him to have a cordial relationship with the opposition Congress Party, which ruled Gujarat state when many of his early projects got off the ground. Adani's success has been largely attributed to his ability to manage relationships. Every politician in office knows him well, Bhaskar said.